Welcome back, guys. We are in our workbooks today on page 214. We're going to be doing a lot of problems with inequalities today, so let's get started. Okay, page 214 starts off with a little chart up here just to remind you of what those symbols look like. We've got less than, or equal to, which as you can see, it just means you put a line under it. Then greater than or equal to, just put a line under the greater than, or just not equal to. Okay, now, first of all, do you understand? How can you write an inequality to describe a situation? So, an inequality is like an equation with one of these symbols instead of an equal sign. All right. What is the difference between an equation with a variable and an inequality with a variable? All right. Would it be more efficient to use an inequality or to list all the quantities less than 6? Explain. Efficient means like a sort of fast and easiest way to do it. Listing everything that's less than 6 or using an inequality? Okay. Generalize. How are the symbols for greater than and greater than or equal to related? Not too hard. All right. So do those, pause the video, and then start it up again when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, so for this one, use the symbol to describe a situation that has an infinite number, or situations that have an infinite number of possible answers. So instead of just one answer, you would use an inequality to show it when it has more than one, or an infinite number. Okay, for this one, what is the difference between an equation with a variable and an inequality with a variable? Equations have one solution, right? And inequalities have a set, sometimes an infinite set. Okay, would it be more efficient to use an inequality or to list all the quantities less than 6? Oh, definitely use an inequality, or you would never finish, because we're not just talking about whole numbers here. Even if we were talking about just whole numbers, it would still go on forever, right? But we were also talking about every decimal, every fraction that is lower than 6, starting with 5.99999999999, and then 5.99998, and so forth. You get the idea. Okay. They both mean greater than. Greater than and equal to also includes equal to. So it also includes the number that you're talking about. All right. Do you know how? Well, let's see. In 5 through 12, you're going to write an inequality for each situation. Remember, an inequality is an equation that uses one of these symbols instead of an equal sign. So, a number n is greater than 22. How would you write that? You'd write n is greater than 22. Okay? Now go through these others. The value v does not equal 2.5. Sally's age, A, is at most 15. Pay attention to that, at most. The width of the picture, we're going to use W for that, is shorter than 8.5 inches. It's shorter than 8.5 inches. Steve's height, H, is at least 48 inches. So at least. So does that mean you're going to include 48 or leave it out? Think about that. Vera's baby brother's age, B, is not 24 months. We don't know how old Vera's baby brother is, but it's not 24 months. So how can you show that? The number of quarters, Q, in the jar is less than 75. And finally, the length of the fish a fisherman catches, F, must be, here's that phrase again, at least 10 inches for him to keep it. Okay, So write an inequality for each of those. When you're done, unpause the video and come check your answers. All right, here we go. N is greater than 22. V does not equal 2.5. A is less than or equal to 15. The at most means we include 15 as part of it. That's why we have the or equal to symbol. The width of the picture W is shorter than 8.5 inches. Okay, shorter than. So W is less than 8.5. Steve's height, H, is at least 48 inches. That means he's at least 48 inches or he might be taller. So H is going to be greater than or equal to 48. Vera's baby brother is not 24 months old. B does not equal 24. Okay. The number of quarters, Q, okay, so it is less than 75. Q is less than 75. Let's make that look like a Q, because otherwise it looks like it says 9 is less than 75, which would be inaccurate. Okay, the length of the fish a fisherman catches, F, must be at least 10 inches. So F is greater than or equal to 10. Again, it's because of that at least. Okay, good. Let's move on to page 215. Okay. So this is more writing an inequality for each situation. 13 through 22, that's all you're going to do. Read it carefully and look for words like up to, at least, and things like that, and figure out which inequality sign you're going to use. Let's see, what do we have here? We've just got farther than. Let's see, what are those other key words? The number of people that can seat at one time. Okay, no more than 171. Less than. No less than. Not. Less than. All these key phrases, right? The time T a customer has left on a parking meter is at least. The girls live B blocks apart. They do not live 7.5. Ooh, this is a tricky one. See if you can figure out what to do with that. Okay, then the number of baseball games X that Karen went to last year is more than 5. Okay, look for those key phrases and figure out what the symbol you're going to use is. Write the inequality. Pause the video here and then start it up again when you're ready to check your answers. All right, so here we go. P is less than or equal to 12. R is greater than 6.2. P is less than or equal to 171. B is less than 45. S is greater than or equal to 34. M is greater than G, or you could write G is less than M. A number of days D of sunshine is not 28, so D does not equal 28. The value V of the bracelet is less than 85, so it's V is less than 85.25. T is greater than or equal to 25. B does not equal 7.5. And finally, X is greater than 5. Okay. Check your work if you need to. See if you can find any mistakes you may have made. Let's look at 23 and 24. Mia is taller than Gage. If M represents Mia's height and G represents Gage's height, write an inequality that shows the relationship between their heights. Okay, so what do we know here? We know M is Mia's height and G is Gage's height, an inequality that shows the relationship between their heights. Well, right off the bat, it tells us that Mia is taller than Gage. So, if Mia's height is M, then it is greater than Gage's height. Okay, do this one on your own. Taryn sold gift wrapping paper for a school fundraiser. She sold at least 15 rolls of paper. Write an inequality to represent the amount of money D she earned for the fundraiser. Okay, what do you think? Write your answer. Okay, at least 15. So let's see, I'm going to say D is well, the amount she sold, at least 15. So that means it's greater than or equal to 15. But we also know that it was $8 per roll. So if we're looking for the amount of money, 8 times the number of rolls is greater than or equal to 15 for the rolls of paper. Okay, let's take a look. So here's what we did for this equation. D is greater than or equal to 15 times 8, because D, remember, is the amount of money she earned. 15, she sold at least 15, and each one was $8. So D is greater than or equal to 8 times 15, which is 120. All right? Okay. Let's take a look at the next page. 216. All right. A city just experienced its greatest one-day snowfall. Write an inequality to represent a snowfall that would beat this record. Okay, so here it is. Here's the record. 19.7 inches is their record. How could you write an inequality that would show an amount of snowfall that would beat that record? All right. The first bookcase, A, in a library can hold one less book than the second bookcase. The second bookcase holds 2,492 books. Write an inequality to represent the number of books the first bookcase can hold. Okay, so the first one can hold one less than that. What's an inequality to show that? A certain airplane, I'm not saying which, but a certain airplane must carry no more than 134 passengers during a flight. Write an inequality to represent the number of passengers P that would not be allowed during this flight. So no more than 134, what would be an amount that would show all of the numbers of people that could not? All right, higher order thinking. To ride a certain roller coaster, a rider must be at least 42 inches tall. To represent this situation, Elias wrote, H is greater than or equal to 42. Nina wrote, H is greater than 42. Who is correct? And explain. So do those 4 problems. Think about them carefully. Look for those little key phrases that tell you what kind of symbol to use. And then start the video up again when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so if the snowfall is 19.7 inches and we want something that will beat that, anything more than 19.7 inches, right? So S is greater than 19.7. Anything that's greater than that. Now, a certain airplane can carry no more than 134. So 134 is the most it can carry. So what's the number of people that too many? Anything that is greater than 134. So you could write 134 is less than P, or you could switch it and write P is greater than 134. So Elias was right. It should include 42 inches because it says at least 42. That means it includes 42 and anything more than that. All right? Now let's take a look at the bottom of this page and then we are done for today. Miguel earns extra money working 2 weekends with his dad. He is saving to buy a new bike that costs $140. Heather says that Miguel needs to earn more than $6 for each hour that he works to have enough money to buy the bike. Her work is shown below. Use an inequality to explain why she is incorrect. Okay, let's see. Here's Heather's solution. Heather says, well, in weekend 1, he works 16 hours, and in weekend 2, he works 7. We can see that that's true from this chart over here, right? Because blue is Saturday, orange is Sunday. So if you add them together, you can see that in weekend 1, there's 7 on Saturday and 9 on Sunday, which equals 16. And then on this one, it's 5 on Saturday and 7 on Sunday, which is 12. Uh-oh. She forgot to count Saturday, so I know she's going to be off. She's right, 16 plus 7 is 23 hours, but he worked more than 23 hours. So then the inequality that she used was 140 divided by 23 hours is greater than or equal to $6 per hour. Miguel has to earn more than $6 per hour. But the truth is that Miguel works more hours than that. So show the equation that is correct and gives the correct amount that he needs. Do that now. Pause the video and start it up again when you're ready to give your answer. Okay, so actually in the 2 weekends, he works 28 hours. So if you use that same equation, only instead of dividing by 23, you divide by 28, you get $5. So if he were getting $6 an hour, he'd earn way more money than he needs. He only needs to earn $5 an hour. Okay? All right, guys. Good work, I think. I think you're doing good work. You're not here, so I don't know for sure, but I think you're doing good work. I look forward to seeing you. Leave questions or comments below. Email me questions if you have them, or save them for the meetings. Any of those ways works. All right, see you soon. Bye.